Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha.
It seems like everyone went out and got a pet during that time.
We hold them until, they're able to find place.
And that's our max capacity. We can house about 50 animals.
Our shelter can only handle about 80.
But then we might have 200 in foster homes.
A lot of them are in offices. There's about 60 to 70 in crates, pop-up crates. Mm-hmm. And these animals are staying there for at least 23 hours in the crate.
At least 23?
Yes.
23 straight?
Yes.
Okay. The status of animal rescues in the St. Louis region and across the country has reached an unprecedented level of crisis. Shelters report that the overcrowding they've experienced this year is the worst they've ever seen, and the number of stray dogs and cats on the streets continues to grow. So what's going on, and what can be done about it? Today, we have two guests in studio to talk with us about those drivers and solutions. First, we have Weng Horak, founder and CEO of the Center for Animal Rescue and Enrichment of St. Louis, also known as CARE STL. Weng, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We also have Alisha Vianello, who is the executive director of Gateway Pet Guardians in East St. Louis. Welcome to you, Alisha.
Hi, thanks for having me as well.
Okay, so glad to have you both here today. Now, Weng, how would you characterize this moment in time?
Well, this is really so hard for us as a rescue organization, as a shelter, because it's really tough in terms of a lot of animals are picked up on the street of St. Louis. So our staff are so burnt out. We have a lot of volunteers who are also burnt out. And they see every day, 3-4 trucks lined up to drop off animals in our shelter.
Okay, so this is not just about pets, but also the human impact as well. And Alisha, how about you? What would you say is happening in this moment?
Pets and people are really struggling. The same thing where we're seeing our shelter constantly full. Pets are having to be left on the street when we don't have room. And people are really struggling too. The cost of pet food is rising rapidly. Housing is a huge issue. And when people are struggling, pets struggle too.
Right. So Alisha, tell me a little bit about how overcrowding is affecting Gateway Pet Guardians.
So we're having to pop up crates to house dogs for the first time ever. As you can imagine, crates are really small and it's hard for dogs to stay in them. We're seeing our length of stay, so how long they're in our shelter, how long it takes them to get adopted is rising rapidly. We're seeing our adoptions decrease. This is the first year that I've seen our adoptions decrease in our history. So it's been really tough on the animals trying to find homes.
Yeah. So when you say we're talking about overcrowding. How many animals is that, and how many of them are in crates, for example?
Currently, we don't have too many in crates. We can house about 50 animals in our facility, but then we can house unlimited numbers in foster homes. Mm-hmm. So right now, we have, say, probably about 50 pets in our shelter, and that's our max capacity, but then we might have 200 in foster homes. And then if we can get more foster homes, then we're able to help more pets or not have to keep them in crates.
Okay. Now, Weng, in your facility, there's overcrowding and more there, especially as a shelter that works with the city of St. Louis's animal control. Tell us about that.
Yes, right now, so our shelter can only handle about 80 animals. And as of today, I have about 222.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So a lot of them are in offices. There's about 60 to 70 in crates, pop-up crates. Mm-hmm. And these animals are staying there for at least 23 hours in the crate.
At least 23?
Yes.
23 straight?
10, yes.
Okay. Now, the conditions that are creating or driving the current overcrowding, because this is not a problem that has popped up all of a sudden. This is something that has existed for some time. What are the conditions that are creating what you're seeing, right now in this moment, where shelters like yours are being overwhelmed, particularly with more owner surrenders? Alisha?
Yeah, so when COVID first hit, it was actually really good for animals because people were home, so then they wanted pets. So then it seems like everyone went out and got a pet during that time. They got them from breeders, from shelters. It was all great. Well, now the eviction moratorium has ended. People are having to pay back their student loans that they didn't have to pay for a while. We talked about pet food increasing. There's a veterinary shortage in the United States, and vet care is really expensive. So you're seeing a lot of people who got pets who now are in such a hard financial spot to be able to keep them. In addition, spay and neuter didn't happen for a while when the pandemic first started. So it's just this monster effect that has all come together now that is creating so much problems for pet owners who find themselves in a tough spot where they can't keep their pet anymore.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that Alisha has not mentioned that, Weng, you have observed too?
It's basically that's it. There's a lot of owner, being evicted right now, and that's actually some of the increases of our animals at the shelter, as well as surrenders. There's really a lot of surrenders where owners cannot afford to vet care as well as pet food for their pets.
Yeah. Well, we have some understanding of that. What you're describing, Weng, it just reminds me of a scene from earlier this week just outside City Hall, right, when St. Louis officials, they cleared a tent encampment there and urged people to relocate to area shelters. But there were several of those who were part of that encampment who said that they struggle to find shelters that allow pets. And our photojournalist here at St. Louis Public Radio and digital editor Brian Munoz, he spoke with a married couple who had to leave two of their dogs behind in order to be admitted to a shelter. And another woman Brian spoke with, named Kathleen Cash, she was leaving with her two chihuahuas, and it was a non-negotiable situation. She was not going to leave them behind. And the last that Brian saw of her, she was wheeling the dogs, Isabel and Bubba, away in a small wagon. I mean, the extent to which this is happening now, has it been a problem before? And how much worse is it at this point in time?
It's really worse at this time. And you mentioned about the situation. We have those dogs at the shelter right now.
Oh, those two dogs?
Yes.
Oh.
I got a phone call from our animal control officer about it, and they really cannot go to the shelter with the people. And so what we do is we hold them until, they're able to find place for them to move. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard. It's a lot of families coming in. I have a situation where a car pulled in our parking lot, and there's 3 kids and a mom, and then there's 2 cats in there.
Okay.
And they were crying because they don't have a place to go, and they have 2 cats that they need to surrender.
Yeah.
So we told them, you know what, we can keep your cats until you can find a home for them.
Okay. And how often are people actually able to come back for their pets?
Well, believe it or not, they come back. We give them maximum of 90 days to be able to, put their life together, and they do come back for their pets.
Okay. I mean, it must be really tough as a sheltered leader to know that, stopping overcrowding at the source, it requires really broad economic change,
right,
on a massive scale in the region, not only here in St. Louis, right, over in Illinois as well. So it's not as simple as, just spay and neuter more cats and dogs, and it's going to take care of it, right?
Right. And if you look at the housing market, lack of affordable housing is a huge issue. And then you look at affordable housing that allows dogs over 30 pounds, multiple pets, pit bulls, Rottweilers. There's so many breed bans and things that it's really not simple. It's so heartbreaking when individuals have to give up their pet or have to be separated from their pet. And it's something that's going to be a community-wide effort to get past.
Yeah. So one of the issues also, you do not have room in your facilities. So people are releasing their pets. There is a way that folks who are doing that are villainized. How do you see those decisions?
We really try to come at it with compassion and without judgment, because if you go to a shelter and say, I need to surrender my pet, they might say, well, there's a 3 to 6 month wait list, but you're getting evicted tomorrow. So you have to come up with a plan. And people get desperate. And I know it's very rare that anyone would truly want to dump a pet, but it's truly there at the end of their rope. And they know, well, if I leave it tied to the fence, at least I know it'll be safe. So even though it's sad when we see a dog or cat dropped off at our front door, tied up or put in a cage, we know that they trusted us to take care of it. And we just wish we could talk to them and figure out, are there any resources we could have given you to keep your pet?
Mm-hmm. This is actually now reminding me of a period during the pandemic. I live in a subdivision, and along the way, there was a crate with a cat in there, and we saw a woman who was actually returning on a pretty regular basis, but leaving the cat there. I mean, Weng, are you familiar with situations in which pet owners have done that because they don't have recourse otherwise?
They do. And also we have found people who are leaving animals outside of our shelters. They either tie them to our door
As
or
Alisha was saying.
yes, or sometimes we will find it in our play yard, a loose dog in our play yard. But you know what? Sometimes they will leave a letter about, why they are leaving the animals with us. And in those cases, I wish people know that there are resources available for them, especially at the city, because in the city, we are, we wanted to help them with at least holding their pets for a while, or at least provide them medication if the only problem is about vet care for their pets. We have a vet clinic on site who's willing to help on that. We also have like pet food for the animals who needs it, so they can keep their pets at home.
Okay.
And in case there's really no option for them, we still take them.
Yeah. So both Care STL and Gateway Pet Guardians have food pantries, and you offer some of these pet supplies that you've been talking about to those who are struggling to make ends meet. I mean, is this also a more cost-effective method for shelters, to pay people to keep their pets, Alisha?
Yeah, I absolutely believe so. Because if we intake a pet, we're going to have to pay for all of that anyway. So why not keep them with their owner? That keeps a shelter space free, and it keeps them with the person who loves them. So we have affordable pet supply store that's open to anyone. We have affordable grooming that's open to anyone, vaccine clinics, medical clinics, spay and neuter program, pet food pantry. We have all sorts of options in our service areas for pet owners.
And how aware are people that these things exist, Weng?
Well, in our case, people call us all the time. I would say that at least, 500 people come into the building every month, and there's so many questions about services that we can offer to.
We're going to take a very quick break here. This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio. Welcome back. Let's return to our conversation about serious overcrowding at area pet shelters. Weng, what is it like to have so many animals in the shelter, and then particularly for animals to be living in crates, as you said, for up to like 23 hours straight?
Yes, 23 hours in a crate. It is really hard. It is... in the past, when we, clean the shelter, we are done like at noon. Right now, we're almost done at 4 o'clock, because having to clean all those dogs in crates are really hard. And on top of that, it is really hard for the staff to come in, and they have to deal with at least 150 animals in one building. And we have 2 buildings that we have house all these animals. So it is frustrating for staff, especially while you are doing the shift, then you see more people are dropping off animals at the building.
Yeah.
So it is hard for them. Some of them are so burned out, and it's frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, Alisha, with what you're seeing and how you have to manage that, I mean, how is it that your staff and then volunteers who are coming in, how do they maintain quality of life for the animals in your care, much less for themselves?
We are lucky to have a really great volunteer base who helps us. We try to provide, if we don't have time to walk every dog so many times a day, at least give them some enrichment if they can't get out, say for their third out of the day. We really try to do things to bring, to raise their spirits. For our staff, we really try to focus on the positive. When I ask them, like, how do they keep from getting burned out and why do they stay, they talk so much about seeing the animals that they helped, like seeing a shy favorite shelter dog get adopted, or seeing the owners that we get to help and seeing how grateful people are for our help. We also have strict boundaries. So when you're on paid time off, you don't check your email, you don't check your phone, we don't bother you. We really try to set some boundaries so that you can enjoy your time away from work to be able to be rejuvenated to come back.
Right, to be recharged. Weng, are you also taking the same measures? Is there anything a little bit different that you've done? Yeah, tell us about that.
Yes, we do that too. What we do is we try to tell our staff that, when you are not on schedule, don't even worry about looking at, group discussion that we have at the shelter, because we are open 24 hours for our own call with animal control officers. We try as much as possible to avoid being on the lookout of what's going on at the shelter. We do have our weekly, meeting with our management staff, as well as POP meeting with our staff at the shelter, to kind of talk about what is the good thing, what makes you feel better to be coming in again the next day. And it was really tough because sometimes they will talk about animals that we lost, because they are very sick or super injured. And we all cry together, all those kind of stuff. But we try as much as possible to be very supportive of what is going on with them.
Now, both of you have actually come to animal rescue centered leadership from business administration or corporate contexts or environments. What was it that brought you to this work, Alisha?
It was really just my love for animals. I've always loved animals, and I'm a human resources professional by trade and education, so I wanted to find a way to combine those skills with working with animals, and it just kind of aligned beautifully.
And Weng, in your case, I mean, you came from stray rescue, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, starting your own thing, how did that come about?
Yes, I was really exposed. I was coming from a corporate world as a, CFO, and then my husband surprised me with a dog coming from Stray Rescue, and that's it. So when I was at Stray Rescue at the time, I used to work with the City of St. Louis Department of Health about what's going on in the animal shelter for the city. And that's what led me to put together Care STL, because I created this organization just for the City of St. Louis animals. I do not pull animals from outside the jurisdiction of the City of St. Louis.
Okay.
And this is purely just for, I am serving purely the residents of the city.
Now, as far as big picture goes, you both are seeing it at the macro level, right? What are some of the structural solutions that could help you, especially if you continue to see this high influx of animals coming into your shelter, Weng?
Yeah, I am actually currently working with the city leadership in terms of moving into a bigger facility, and we're working about having to use the workhouse as an option for us. Right now, the city shelter has about 8,500 square feet. And, as you know, the workhouse has about 240 square feet of facilities. So we are working on that. We are on the second stage in terms of communicating and discussing with the committee that the mayor assigned to look after the study of a feasibility study, if we can use the workhouse or not.
There are some things that people can do, sort of at the everyday level. Alisha, what are some of the things that folks who are not, in charge of shelters like you or making sort of structural level changes can do to help overcrowded shelters? Can you give like a couple of?
Fostering is incredibly helpful. I know both of our organizations have foster programs that way you free up a kennel so that another dog or cat has a space to come in and they don't have to live in a crate. Volunteering to walk dogs, take care of cats, do laundry, donating. There's never enough funding in the animal welfare industry. And then working with other foundations. You spoke about the shelters not always taking for shelters for people, taking pets, and really getting the community to understand that pets are part of the family. So when we look at people experiencing trauma or going through things, there needs to be solutions that they can keep their pets.
Okay, so that's the big picture connected to the little picture. Weng, in your case, a couple of things people can do.
Yeah, similar to Alisha, we need fosters. That is the best way. We provide everything to our foster families, and also we ask that people come to the shelter for a staycation. They can take the dog for a day or for 2 days, a maximum of 3 days, and so that we can know the personality of the dog on how they behave in a home.
Oh, okay.
So we need that, and of course, volunteers. We have an amazing volunteers right now who come into the shelter, clean, walk dogs, enrichment, all the stuff. But we need more. Mm-hmm. We need more.
So just to kind of put a bow on the foster part, because that is something you both have mentioned, who is it that should consider fostering a dog or a cat, and what does it absolutely require, Alisha?
Anyone. If you are over the age of 18 and you can take home a foster pet, so it could be a college student, it could be a family, you could have other pets. We do test the pets to see if they're good with other dogs or other cats. We provide everything, so there is no cost to the foster family. It's just your time and a space for them. We give food, veterinary care, supplies, everything. So it's very easy and it's super fun.
Mm-hmm. And is there sort of one last word that you would give to encourage people to foster in particular?
Yeah, that's it. Similar to what Alisha said. And I think, and you know what? It's so fulfilling when you see your foster get adopted.
Weng Horak is founder and CEO of the Center for Animal Rescue and Enrichment of St. Louis, also known as CARE STL, and Alisha Vianello is executive director of Gateway Pet Guardians in East St. Louis. Alisha and Weng, thank you for joining us today, and good luck with your events and your work.
Thank you.
This episode was produced by Emily Woodbury.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.